Lackluster's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On May 10th, 2019, disabled veteran Charles Donner and his wife Brittany were driving behind Arkansas State Police Trooper Ryan Wingo in Hot Springs, Arkansas, when Trooper Wingo made a sudden U-turn to attempt to pursue a vehicle traveling the opposite direction that was allegedly speeding. Mr. Donner honked his horn at Trooper Wingo, and Trooper Wingo responded by making a full 360-degree turn, passing another vehicle and pulling behind Mr. Donner with his lights flashing. When Mr. Donner pulled to the right side of the road and stopped his vehicle, Trooper Wingo crashed into him.
Quote, "following too closely." That is the phrase written on the citation. 2 words on a piece of paper. But the dash cam behind that piece of paper shows a state trooper's own cruiser slamming into the car he claims was too close. Picture this, a mirror. One driver watches the road behind him. The other driver, wearing a badge, watches nothing at all until his own patrol car becomes the weapon in the collision he blames on someone else. That is the image to hold on to for this entire case. The pursuer becomes the impact. Before we go deeper into what the body cam and dash cam actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Police Misconduct Case, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. May 10, 2019, Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Pull into the parking lot. Pull into the parking lot. 16 Hot Springs. Go and send one of the normal units over here to the shoe factory. I had a car slam on the brakes in front of me. License, registration, insurance, sir.
Yeah, sure. Why are you pulling me over?
Because you're following me too closely and nearly ran into me.
No, I did not. You slammed on your brakes. You had no brake. You had no turn signal or nothing.
I had to turn around on the car without speeding. I'm doing my job out here, sir. Give me your license.
You hit me. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll see you in court, dude. Take it on. Look at my car.
Hey, take a seat in the car for right now. We're on a traffic stop right now.
Hey,
okay?
You hit my car.
We're on a traffic stop right now.
Out here.
I want to see the damage done to my vehicle.
Give me a minute. We're on a traffic stop right now. Once I get done with my traffic stop, we're following too closely.
I was not following too close. Clearly you were. You hit me.
You stopped in the middle of a roadway, sir.
No, you
I didn't stop. I got over and I was in the lane.
You
trying
stopped
to
in the
speed
lane.
back up. No, I was trying to speed back up.
Okay,
and you
sir.
slammed on your gas.
Okay.
And you hit us.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, I told you why I stopped you, because you were following me too closely.
But I wasn't. But
okay.
We'll see in court.
Okay. Do you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I sure do.
You don't need her ID.
Yes, I do, actually, for the accident report that you so want, sir.
Yes.
I do want it.
Okay.
You f***ing hit me.
There's no damage between our vehicles, though.
I don't give a f***, bro. You f***ing hit me.
Yeah.
Charles Donner, a disabled veteran, is driving with his wife Brittany. Behind them, an Arkansas State Police cruiser driven by Trooper Ryan Wingo. Wingo spots a car going the other direction, decides it might be speeding, and cuts a fast U-turn to chase it. Donner taps his horn. Just a warning, just a driver saying, "Watch out." Wingo takes it as a challenge. He whips his cruiser around, cuts across another lane, and pulls in behind Donner with lights flashing. Donner does exactly what the law tells drivers to do. He pulls to the right and stops. And that is the moment Trooper Wingo's cruiser crashes directly into his car.
Conduct. Arkansas's disorderly conduct law, which is found in section 5-71-207 of the Arkansas Code, states that, quote, "A person commits the offense of disorderly conduct if, with the purpose to cause public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, or recklessly creating a risk of public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, he or she engages in fighting or in violent, threatening, or tumultuous behavior, makes unreasonable or excessive noise, in a public place uses abusive or obscene language, or makes an obscene gesture in a manner likely to provoke a violent or disorderly."
Here is the moral refrain of this case. The trooper caused the crash and then arrested the victim. On the recording, Wingo tells Donner he was following too closely. The video shows the opposite.
This same disorderly conduct statute for giving him the middle finger. The court concluded that although the gesture was inarticulate and crude, quote, it represented an expression of disapproval toward a police officer with whom he had just had a run-in. As such, it fell squarely within the protective umbrella of the First Amendment, and any action to punish or deter such speech, such as stopping or hassling the speaker, is categorically prohibited by the Constitution. In reaching this decision, the court reviewed a long line of Supreme Court decisions on the issue, including the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill. In this case, the court held that, quote, the First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers. Speech is often provocative and challenging, but it is nevertheless protected against censorship or punishment, unless shown likely to produce a clear and present danger of a serious substantive evil that rises far above public inconvenience, annoyance, or unrest. The court also noted that, quote, the freedom of individuals verbally to oppose or challenge police action without thereby risking arrest is one of the principal characteristics by which we distinguish a free nation from a police state.
Space between the vehicles, an officer who never used his turn signal, and a maneuver that would get any private citizen a reckless driving charge. Under Arkansas law, Section 27-51-202, emergency vehicles get some exemptions, but only when lights and sirens are active, and only if the driver still uses due regard for the safety of all persons using the street. The statute itself says reckless driving by an officer is never protected. Full stop.
Mr. Donner's constitutional rights.
You're under arrest for disorderly conduct, sir.
Ooh.
Come on. Take a seat until you can calm down.
Okay.
Ma'am, there was no need for cussing me out. Until he can calm down and act like an adult, he's going to sit in the back of the car.
Let me explain to you. My husband has severe PTSD. Severe. He's a 100% disabled veteran, and he is fucking. That's why I'm here.
You gonna talk to me? You gonna let me talk, or you just want to interrupt me the entire time, ma'am?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Until he can calm down and act like a human being and stop cussing me out for no reason, so I'm trying to explain to him what happened. But he doesn't want to let me talk, okay? So do you want to let me talk or not?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now. You gonna calm down or you gonna continue cussing me out?
I just want your badge and number and your name.
I'm asking you a simple question. So are you gonna calm down?
Sure, I just want your badge and number and your name. That's all I want.
Okay, well, I'm trying to ask you.
And I said, sure, officer.
Okay, well, you're going to continue cussing me out or not? Because that was that. If you're going to say sure, then I'm not going to have you sit out here and cuss me for no reason. There's no fit to, you're not incriminating yourself.
Donner asks for the trooper's name and badge number. That's it. That's his crime, apparently, because Wingo then rips open the car door and arrests him for disorderly conduct. Let's translate that charge into plain English. Arkansas's disorderly conduct law targets behavior that creates public alarm, fighting, threats, obscene gestures meant to provoke a violent response. Frustration directed at the officer who just hit your car does not meet that bar. And there's a bigger constitutional wall here. Cursing at police is protected speech. Courts have said this again and again. In Nichols v. Chickaween, a federal court ruled that even flipping off an officer is protected expression under the First Amendment. In Houston v. Hill, the Supreme Court called the right to verbally challenge police one of the principal characteristics separating a free country from a police state.
Of situations. In the 1951 case of Hoffman versus United States, the Supreme Court held that the right against self-incrimination, quote, not only extends to answers that would in themselves support a conviction, but likewise embraces those which would furnish a link in the chain of evidence needed to prosecute the claimant. The court also determined that citizens cannot be compelled to answer questions when they have reasonable cause to fear consequences from answering the question, or when it is, quote, evident from the implications of the question, in the setting in which it is asked, that a responsive answer to the question or an explanation of why it cannot be answered might be dangerous because injurious disclosure could result. Similarly, in the 2001 case of Ohio versus Reiner, the Supreme Court determined that both innocent and guilty individuals have the right to remain silent during police interrogation because, quote, truthful responses of an innocent witness, as well as those of a wrongdoer, may provide the government with incriminating evidence from the speaker's own mouth, and that it is reasonable for an individual to fear that answering police questions might incriminate them. In this situation, answering even a seemingly innocuous question, such as, "Are you going to calm down now?" could have caused Mr. Donner to unintentionally implicate himself. For instance, if Mr. Donner had agreed to calm down and stop cussing out Trooper Wingo, it could have insinuated that his conduct was unreasonable before he was handcuffed, and that he believed that his detention was justified. This is one of the many reasons that citizens should invoke their right to remain silent when police officers attempt to question them, as when an individual answers a question inexactly or incorrectly, it can be used to incriminate them, even when they are innocent.
I'm just trying to ask you.
And I already said sure. I just want your badge number. I just want your badge number and your name.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Okay.
Because this is going to end horribly.
So ask yourself the ticking clock question. If raising your voice at the officer who crashed into you is a crime, then what exactly is left of the right to criticize the government at all? Second refrain. The trooper caused the crash and then arrested the victim.
I just want him, I'm trying to get him to calm down. But he doesn't want to, he wants to continue to yell at me for no reason, okay?
Chevy West, down the bank, go ahead.
I said he has severe PTSD.
I don't know if he has malicious intent. He's over here yelling and cussing me. Now I'm just trying to get his information, and he wants to start yelling, stop in the middle of the road for no reason.
I understand, but he was freaking out because you hit our car. That's why he was upset, was because you hit us.
The driver in the backseat, he started cussing me out, and I'm trying to have him calm down the backseat.
Okay, but everything's good to go.
Yeah. He just wants to yell and cuss me for no reason, so I got him out and put him in the backseat.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was coming this way. I saw him riding my butt. Okay. I didn't really care. Car tops hill going 60. I'm on overtime. Just turned around.
Right.
When I went to turn around, he slammed. Yeah. I had to turn around. I don't slam on brakes or anything. I hit my brakes, turn around. I knew he was riding my butt. So just turned around. Yeah. Turned around, and when I turned around, he starts laying on his horn. So I was like, okay. So you want to lay on your horn, I'll just pull you over for the close. So when I turned back around to come behind him, he moves straight over from the inside lane to the outside lane, moves straight over and just slams on the brakes. And I'm just trying to get behind him, and he slams on his brake. And I didn't even have my lights on at that point, but he just...
There's a second constitutional layer buried in the footage: self-incrimination. Wingo repeatedly presses Donner to calm down, framing it as harmless small talk, not an interrogation. But the Fifth Amendment doesn't only cover direct confessions. In Hoffman versus United States, the Supreme Court ruled the privilege against self-incrimination covers any answer that could furnish a link in the chain of evidence. Agreeing to calm down could be twisted later into an admission that his behavior had been unreasonable in the first place. That's why Donner keeps asking only for a badge number and staying silent on everything else.
And cab cams show actually occurred. First, Trooper Wingo claims that Mr. Donner was following him too closely, but the cab footage shows that Mr. Donner left plenty of distance between the two vehicles while Trooper Wingo was driving in front of him. Trooper Wingo also alleges that he had not activated his emergency lights when Mr. Donner stopped his vehicle, but the cab cam also shows that he did in fact turn on his emergency lights before the collision occurred. Finally, Trooper Wingo insists that Mr. Donner stopped in the middle of the road when Mr. Donner had clearly pulled into the right lane to yield to the police vehicle. What the video footage also shows is that Trooper Wingo started to make a U-turn without first getting into the middle turning lane. Then, when Mr. Donner honked his horn at him, Trooper Wingo turned back around to pull over Mr. Donner and ultimately slammed into Mr. Donner's vehicle when he stopped.
Legally, that is not evasion. That is discipline. When a second trooper arrives, Wingo tells a version of events that does not match his own dash and body cameras. He claims Donner tailgated him. The footage shows distance. He claims his lights weren't on yet. The footage shows they were. He claims Donner stopped in the roadway. The footage shows Donner pulling fully into the right lane, exactly as instructed.
For example, Section 27-51-202 of the Arkansas Code establishes that certain speed limit laws, quote, do not apply to authorized emergency vehicles responding to emergency calls when the driver of the emergency vehicle is operating the vehicle's emergency lights and is also operating an audible signal by bell, siren, or exhaust whistle if other vehicles are present. However, the statute also explicitly states that, quote, this section does not relieve the driver of an authorized emergency vehicle from the duty to drive with due regard for the safety of all persons using the street, nor shall it protect the driver of any emergency vehicle from the consequence of a reckless disregard of the safety of others. Given this evidence...
Third refrain. The trooper caused the crash and then arrested the victim. In the end, Wingo released Donner without the disorderly conduct charge, but still wrote him citations for following too closely and parking on the highway. The Donners paid the fine to move on, then hired an attorney to pursue a civil rights lawsuit. This case leaves one open question the courts still haven't answered publicly. When a government vehicle causes a crash and the driver who gets hit is the one arrested, who does the record protect? The citizen or the badge?
Would probably determine that Trooper Wingo's erratic driving was not only likely responsible for the accident, but it was also illegal.
Look, Dave, you see these cars, you see the flag, you see the marking. Our U-turns are legal when we're going out the highway. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. And what you did, slamming on your brakes. I didn't slam on my brakes. That's his word. That's not my wife. That's fine. I didn't slam on my brakes, so. I mean, it's all been pre-recorded for the 1 minute. It don't matter. It don't have to slam. Yeah. Are you one of these smart people that you're going to provoke the police? No, I'm not trying to. It sounds like it, no.
Trooper Wingo eventually released Mr. Donner without charging him with disorderly conduct and issued him a citation for following too closely and parking on a highway. Because of the traumatic experience they had with Trooper Wingo, the Donners decided not to fight these charges and paid the $330 fine. The couple recently decided to retain an attorney to pursue a civil rights lawsuit against Trooper Wingo.
Pull up Arkansas Code Section 5-71-207 and Section 27-51-202 yourself. Watch how they're written and tell us in the comments, based on the statute alone, did Trooper Wingo break the law before Charles Donner ever said a word? If this case shows you something about how power gets protected on paper, hit like. Share this with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe to Police Misconduct Case and turn on notifications, because the next case is already waiting. And the evidence doesn't wait for
rights
anyone.
Lawsuit against Trooper Wingo, and Ms. Donner has created a GoFundMe campaign to help cover the costs of attorney fees. You can find a link in the description below. Overall, Trooper Wingo gets an F for causing a crash by recklessly operating his patrol vehicle, intentionally misrepresenting the facts of the encounter to justify his actions, and for violating Mr. Donner's First and Fourth Amendment rights by arresting him for his speech. Not only did Trooper Wingo exercise poor discretion by choosing to pull over someone who honked at him rather than an individual who was potentially committing an actual violation, but he also needlessly violated several traffic laws and caused a low-speed crash in an effort to do so. It could certainly be argued that the trooper's actions put more citizens in danger than Mr. Donner would have if he actually had been following the trooper too closely, and it would be difficult for anyone, much less a court, to find Trooper Wingo's conduct anything but objectively unreasonable. Trooper Wingo failed to take responsibility for his actions, arrested a citizen for criticizing his conduct, and was unable to control the situation in a peaceful and professional manner. And this is yet another encounter where an officer attempted to criminalize behavior that their ego could not tolerate, rather than making a legitimate effort to de-escalate the situation. It seems clear that Mr. Donner has a civil case on his hands, and it'll be interesting to see whether he is able to raise the funds to find representation. Mr. Donner gets an A for remaining relatively calm and collected throughout the encounter, verbally invoking his right to remain silent, and for maintaining a reasonable balance between challenging the conduct of the troopers and complying with their commands. As discussed earlier, profanities are generally protected under the First Amendment, especially when directed at police officers, and nothing that Mr. Donner said constituted a violation of any legitimate statute. Considering that he was being accused of following Trooper Wingo too closely immediately after being rear-ended by the trooper, Mr. Donner was reacting to the situation in a relatively reasonable manner. Mr. Donner also made a point to verbally invoke his right to remain silent, and refused to waive that right despite Trooper Wingo's insistence that remaining silent was not necessary. I commend Mr. Donner for effectively exercising his right to silence, and for having the courage to follow up this encounter with legal action. A link to Mr. Donner's GoFundMe will be in the description below if you are interested in helping him retain an attorney. And be sure to give Lackluster your support. You can find a link to his channel in the description as well.